confirm, you can see my screen. You could chat something. You could put something on the chat section. My name is Nyambura from Biashara Club. So this is the Hong Kong, China 2024. So a little bit of background about Biashara Club. Biashara Club is a non-financial arm of KCB. We normally do our services in a three-prong approach. We normally have capacity building, where we normally have trainings. The trainings could be physical. We go around the counties ensuring that we are training on topics that are affecting businesses, whether it's from a regulation side or what is happening, or the last topic we are dealing with is looking at our value propositions. So we normally have trainings. They could be physical and online. Like I said, we have an upcoming session on 30th of August to ensure that we are skilled to be able to compete adequately in the world. Then we normally have networking. As we are starting, like we're asking, where are you at? What business do you do? Whether you're in the sports industry, you're a bookseller, you do travel, or you're an insurer. So we network in our sessions, whether they are physical or online, just to ensure that we are growing our net worth as we continue doing business. The other thing we do in the club is market exposure. And in this case, we normally have two types of trips. We have the local one and the international one. And today we are here because of the international one, where we'll be having a trip to Hong Kong and China in October, starting on the 15th all the way to the 24th. And as you can see, we also have an annual magazine. This is just to tell us we were celebrating 15 years last year. The club is now 16 years, and that is part of the activities that we normally do. So Biashara Club is the business club of KCB, and we offer non-financial services. At this point, just to be sure when you're here in the chat, please tell me, why do people travel? And Makatiani is telling us Hong Kong, China is very clear, echoing. Oh, goodness, thank you. Emily is putting a tick. Why do people travel? Nancy is saying for exposure, and that's true. What else? For exposure, Elvina. Why else do we travel? And this is a business travel. Naomi has told us this is a trade trip, and then to learn new cultures. Yes, Proskovia is from Uganda. Networking, yes, to see what else people are doing, to benchmark. For fun and business opportunities. Thank you, Mary. To think globally, adventure, exposure. Thank you very much. Networking, pleasure, experience, different cultures. And yes, this is among the reasons why people travel. So even as we go ahead, I think one of the things that we need to ask ourselves is, why do people really travel? And this trip, one of the things people do is to trade. And it's a trade trip. We are going to see, and the way China, the economy is structured is that we mainly purchase from them, and then we can also sell to them. So people travel to trade, to import or export. And then again, we are even asking ourselves, and you've put this in the chat section, what exactly is best practice? When we say we want to see best practice, when we say we want to imagine about best practice, what exactly is best practice? Then partnerships. We are looking for new customers. We are looking for new markets, new suppliers. So we would be traveling to do all these things, to come up with partnerships and see. Some of us sell school equipment. This equipment comes from China. Perhaps you want to go and confirm that the person who sells for you at the right price. You also want to go and see, where is it made? Is it possible to get the machinery here and do it yourself? Can we improve the machines that we have in Gekomba, perhaps move them to the next level where they are more efficient, or in Kariobangi? So these are part of the reasons we travel. So we will have this trip in a two-prong approach. It's to Hong Kong and China. Hong Kong is a special administrative unit of China. So it was skewed, it's skewed, actually they are just next door neighbors with China. It has its own currency. It's called the Hong Kong dollar. And then it's known as a global financial center. It's a top exporter and importer, and it's a busy container port. So why it's attractive for business is because of the busy port. And then it also does a lot of export and import. And like we've said, it's a global financial center. Then we'll move to China. China is the largest exporter, and as we know, it's a big economy. Depending on which report you read, they are normally the biggest economies with the US. Some reports say in 2022, China was ahead of US. Some will say vice versa, but they are the two largest economies. It's the largest exporter and the number 2 largest importer. It's a very complex economy, mainly because obviously of its sheer size. It has its own currency known as the Chinese yuan, and it has a capital city. The capital city is Beijing. Now, if you notice, Hong Kong is just called Hong Kong. They don't have a capital city. Please note it's a small place. because it was hived off from China. And while it's a special administrative unit, it's quite small in comparison to China. Now, this trip is going to happen in 4 cities. That is Hong Kong. And we've said Hong Kong is it's a global financial city. Not much production is done there. Then we'll go to Shenzhen. Shenzhen is known as the technology hub of China. It's actually a special zone where China was trying to ensure that production happens there. We'll be visiting 2 farms which are in the technology sector to just look at what could we get from there, whether it's ERP solutions, whether it's in terms of technology, what else can we get? I mean, we are moving into the AI. What else can you incorporate in your business to ensure that you are competing globally? Then we have Yiwu. Yiwu is the world's largest wholesale market for small commodities. Move from Yiwu and then go to Guangzhou. It has a vast port and is China's main transport and trading hub. You come back to Guangzhou, the trip ends in Guangzhou, where we'll be having the Canton Fair. Now, we'll be going to the Canton Fair. This is the 136th session of the Canton Fair. And the Canton Fair is one of the largest fairs in the world. In China, it's actually the largest. It has been going on from 1957, and it's quite humongous. We'll be going to phase 2, which will be happening between the 23rd and 27th of October 2022. These are what they list. If you look at it, general ceramics, household items that will be happening in phase 2, kitchenware, tableware. And please note, when we say general ceramics, they could just put this word general ceramics, but the number of items that are contained here are quite vast. So this is where an opportunity to do business. We'll be attending the Canton Fair. We'll have a full day there. And like Naomi had said earlier, one of the things is to do research before we get there. So the cities is Hong Kong, 2 nights, Shenzhen, 2 nights, Yiwu, 2 nights. That makes a total of 6. And then Guangzhou will be 3 nights to make it into a total of 9 nights that will be out there. Now, this is the costing for the trip, just so that we are aware of it. We have the costing that is given per person. This means every person. When we say sharing, it means 2 people in a room which has 2 beds. It could be either way, but sometimes we normally have couples who are traveling with us. In that case, they get a double bed, but it's still 2 people. Sometimes we get asked why 2 people. Please remember, the 2 of you on the flight, you normally have 2 seats. You'll occupy, everything will be 2. Even in the room, you'll get 2 sets of everything. But so the cost is normally a bit lower than the single room occupancy, because then you'll be having 2 people. So the cost is $3,475. Then we have the single room occupancy. This means you will not be sharing a room with anybody. It's USD 4,132. Then we have requested for the deposit to be made before the end of this month for 2,000 USD, and we've given the Biashara Club account number there. What does this money cater for? Accommodation. The accommodation is in Fosters. Fosters allow us to be nearer towns, to be more comfortable, to be in places where we are able to get good service, good meals. So the accommodation is on Foster hotels. Then it also caters for ground transfers. This also includes a visa processing, so we'll process the visas. This also includes English speaking guide. Then we also have cultural experiences. It's not only about business. So we'll have like the Chimlong show, we'll do a dinner cruise, just to make sure that we also are able to consume what the different cultures are. So this is what the money caters for. Accommodation, this is on bed and breakfast. Ground transfers, like I've said, to be able, and this is when you're on the trip. When did you deviate, then that becomes a separate cost because you're deviating from what has been drawn. Visa processing is included here. So your visa fees, all you need to do is come to Nairobi, and then you go to the visa processing center, and then we'll provide for you English speaking guides, and then they are part of the cultural experience, so that in addition to business, you're also able to experience the cultures in those countries. The other thing, what will you require for your visa processing? A complicated application form. Then we have 2 passport size against a white background. We will require 6 months certified bank statement, and for this one, the required balance is 10,000 or its equivalent. Then we require the documentation for the business. We require the registration certificate, tax compliance, KRA PIN for the business, city council licenses for 2023 and 2024 will be required. In the case where you are employed, you could be employed by a company, then we will require employment proof. And your name, if you're employed maybe by a company and you're the one representing that company, your passport and your number need to be there, and date of birth, the position in that business, your employer's name, address, contacts, and the signature of the director. And in this case, they're asking for the copy of ID of the person who is signing off the letter for you. Please ensure that you have a passport, the light blue one, the travel document to be able to do this. Ensure that your documents are together. Most of you have been asking the ones who are already on it whether they can start handing in their documentation. No, we are first completing with the deposits, then we start with the documentation to ensure that everything is complete. Please remember the carrier or flight, sorry I didn't say about this, will be using Emirates. Emirates allows 2 pieces of bags at 23 kilograms, but we will be using China Southern, from, so we'll take a flight from Shenzhen to Yiwu, that's about 2 hours. And then again, but the China Southern only allows for 1 piece of a bag. So the extra bag which you'll have come with, if you'll come with from Kenya, will require you to pay for it. Kenyans, we don't require a visa to get to Hong Kong, so we require the China one. If you're a non-Kenyan, please reach out so that we can give you the requirement, depending on your country, on how to get the Hong Kong visa. So please start preparing. Please make the deposits. Like we said, we've put in the account number on the posts that have been going around. You can also check on our website in case of that. So you'll just go join club trip. You'll find the details there as well. The remaining balance of the trip money will be paid in September. So like we said, we have these webinars. We normally start from 8 to 9:30. Have a wonderful Friday, people. Thank you and goodbye. Asanteni sana.